Folks, thanks for coming on the line with us today. We'll be spending the next 45 minutes to an hour discussing the market venue programs that are available to agents that are contracted with us here at Premier Marketing. My name is John Dubas. I'm one of the vice presidents for agent success, and we'll get underway right now. What I want to make certain that you realize is what we're going to give you today is not only an update on the programs that are ongoing, which are the programs through Walmart and the retailers that are affiliated with different carriers, but also some additional opportunities that you have in this space that might fit your situation even better than some of the other programs that we've spoken about. A bit of background about Premier Marketing for those who are unaware. We are a national marketing organization founded in 1968, part of the Integrity Marketing Platform with offices across the country. We act as an insurance wholesaler providing insurance contracts through independent insurance agents, with those contracts available at the highest possible commission levels, and recruiting contracts are available to those who qualify. As I mentioned, we were founded in 1968, so that means last year we celebrated a milestone, our 50th anniversary. And it's a great accomplishment for a family agency in rural Nebraska that's become one of the largest in the Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement marketing space. We do so through a full portfolio of insurance products, including the Medicare programs that are divided into Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement, and standalone PDP programs. But we also offer a full portfolio of life insurance and annuity products, including final expense life insurance and pre-need plans, long and short-term care programs, disability income programs, and ancillary products that help fill the gaps in basic coverages, including dental, vision, hearing programs, critical illness cancer plans, and hospital indemnity programs. That Medicare Advantage portfolio includes all the big boys in the market and a large number of very strong regional carriers that can make a difference for you in your particular marketing space. That same philosophy carries over to the PDP portfolio with the national carriers available to you, and a few of the standalone programs that are still out there are available through our organization. The Medicare Supplement portfolio is very large and robust and offers assistance through different marketing tools that we'll touch on as we speak of ways that you can maximize your time in a retail setting. The ancillary products include the named carriers in each of those categories and a healthy choice of programs that are competitive across the country. When we speak to the Medicare market, we're looking at a burgeoning, growing market. You don't come on a program like this without a marketer or a carrier representative speaking to the aging of the baby boomers, the 10,000 people a day turning 65 that are going into Medicare eligibility. We speak to it that way because there are some folks that turn 65 and continue to work and don't necessarily access full Medicare benefits, but still we're missing about a sixth of the Medicare market if we're looking only at the folks over the age of 65, because there's a substantial number of folks who are medically disabled and qualify for the Medicare coverage in that way, and they're part of our market that we look to serve in any of our marketing activities. That Medicare population is varied, and so it depends upon a variety of programs in your portfolio to help serve the population. You have, as we age, a physicality that tends to break down a little bit. 2/3 of the population has 3+ chronic conditions, and we have some serious financial concerns for a large portion of the population as well. So it's important that we have the programs available to address people to their best interest in each of their situations. Because as we see things going through the years, this is even getting more pronounced where a large number of folks are afflicted by a larger number of chronic conditions, and we need to be prepared to help them do so, even though many of them have limited incomes and assets to address those conditions. So as people age into the Medicare programs, they have choices. And this is one of the themes that is emphasized by a couple of the different marketing opportunities that are available to you in retail, because not one solution works best for everyone. We have the possibilities of folks staying in traditional Medicare administration and self-insuring, or picking up a standardized Medigap policy with a Part D program to cover their medications, or go into the private administration of their Medicare benefits through Part C. We have to be aware of the possibilities for everyone that we discuss coverages with, and have the product in hand to help them with their own situation. What deft research is telling us here very recently is for the folks who are aging in to Medicare and picking up that coverage, it's about an even split between Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement programs. And so we need to be prepared to address those needs. Medicare also dictates how we are able to help people and when we're able to help those people. And this is important even in retail, because some of these campaigns are available year-round. And even though a lot of the publicity is generated at time periods like this, where the Walmart program is made available and is available only through the end of open enrollment, the annual election period, I should say, it is a possibility in other marketing circumstances year-round. So having a base knowledge of the different election periods and the special election periods that are available to folks, their get out of jail free card for that lock-in period, we see a large number of opportunities to sell year-round. And if we go back to some of the characteristics of the Medicare population, this fits that scenario, because we have folks who change throughout the year and have opportunities to modify their coverage, and that's where an independent agent is at their best service. So spending a bit of time talking about the retail opportunities in the different name retail locations is an opportunity that we feel is important to incorporate into a comprehensive grassroots marketing campaign. We're not fans of putting all your eggs in one basket when it comes to different marketing efforts, but this is a program that traditionally has served a large number of agents in very good stead as a part of an overall program. And you have different options available. As I mentioned before, we spend quite a bit of time speaking of Walmart, but you have different programs available through different carriers as well. And this is where it behooves us to have good relationships with local management for these carriers to make certain that we can leverage all of the marketing opportunities we have available. Aetna has a very strong program across the country. The different Blue Cross Blue Shield programs will take part in different areas on the Walmart campaign, as Aetna does, but they also have standalone programs that may serve you very well as well. Baylor Scott & White here in Texas, Central Texas particularly, also accesses different retail programs for its licensed and contracted and certified agents. And UnitedHealthcare has operated a retail program nearly as long as the Walmart programs themselves. There are other programs based in certain markets that depends upon your marketing efforts in different specific geographic areas. And that's where a frank discussion with you on an overall marketing effort and the possibilities for you where you reside and where you sell is very, very valuable to you. The Walmart campaign, well, as I mentioned, we're going to spend quite a bit of time giving you some updates on that as well. And then there's a grassroots campaign that you can create yourself. We'll give you a bit of detail on that as well. When we look at the Aetna program, it is a initiative that is powered by the Aetna Medicare portfolio of products, and much of it is centered around the newly acquired relationship that they have with CVS. It requires that an agent have the portfolio training in place for their entire package of product that is available in the market, and that is something that we've seen a market change in Aetna's outlook in the last year or so in marketing not just their Medicare Advantage and standalone PDP programs, which obviously is in flux with the changes going on there, but also their Medicare supplements and ancillary products as well. It's important to note we sell health programs at the same time that we offer an MA or PDP program, as long as that's been agreed to as part of the scope of appointment designation before we start our presentations. Aetna does offer specific retail event training as well that those that are involved in this program need to go through. And all of the activity and results that you make Aetna aware of is filed through their proprietary systems now, and the filing has to be done for the events a minimum of 2 weeks in advance. This year, they're actually asking for a calendar by mid-July throughout AEP, so they can work with that schedule and help publicize the events for the involved agents. They ask that the activity reports be filed through their survey programs and do so on a regular standardized basis. They are a little more lenient when it comes to the certain requirements that you have to satisfy in order to participate. They want at least 10 hours per week in the store, and they give the agent involved the latitude of working the days that are best in that location. The exception to that would be is if in a particular market, that market has budgeting dollars, marketing dollars to help support those efforts, and they'll, in essence, standardize some of the days and times for a particular location, but that varies by market. That's where it's really important to make certain that we have relationships with those area market managers, because they control that animal and they look for particular locations that would probably best serve the purpose of the agents. It's kind of like retail, it's kind of like working in real estate, where you have a challenge with location. And some of the national marketing efforts have been finalized at this time. They look to focus on stores in MA markets. So if product for Aetna on the MA basis is not available in your particular market, and there is a large expansion expected with Aetna, so don't go necessarily on where things are this year. We need to chat as to what is actually going to be available or slated to be available in 2020. So some of the more rural areas, this may be more of a challenge, and this might then become part of your own grassroots campaign. We'll talk about that in a little bit. The contacts for the local manager or for the local market are the broker managers for each of the markets. There is some national oversight, but they have a opportunity for local management to really make a difference as to how this initiative functions in your particular market, because they'll take and they'll look at each store's potential based on 10 different factors to see if money spent in a particular location is best spent in that location, or perhaps an area with greater traffic. The greatest focus is obviously on the CVS stores. There may be other retailers available depending upon the market and the market presence of CVS in your particular area. There are certain holidays that are blackout dates where they ask that the retail initiative not be actively marketed during those days. And if you look at this noting of those particular holidays, wow, there's a bunch of those that fall before open enrollment. This is one of the reasons why we speak to the fact that some of these campaigns are available year-round. Now, obviously, you may not want to invest as much time during a lock-in period as you would during AEP, but this gives you a solid opportunity to not only solidify and establish relationships with store and department management in these different locations, but it also gives you a solid base for basically an adjunct office in your chosen target market year-round. So this is something that really needs to be investigated and be a part of an agent's portfolio should they contract and actively market the Aetna programs. We spoke of the fact that much of the Reporting and the filing of events is through specific agent portal, and that is where people will go to sign up to participate. They will use the information to verify your licensing and the appointment with the organization, and then of course making certain that you are currently certified for the marketing year. It also gives you the opportunity to reserve those store hours and locations and complete the program training that's necessary to participate in this program. The WAC asks that you complete a code of conduct attestation, and it gives you the opportunity to order the materials needed for the location at which you're marketing. It also requires access to Salesforce because you are asked to enter in your leads and the lead follow-up. And this is necessary because, well, it's like everything else. It's my ball game, my rules. Well, it's also my wallet, and we need to make certain that we are justifying the cost of the campaign by production and lead output in the different locations. Not my wallet, the carrier's wallet, obviously. When we look at the cost to participate, it will vary by market. There are different national negotiations for the cost of these programs. Last year, if we base it on some of the activity by market, it was as inexpensive as no out-of-pocket expenditure, and in some of the markets, it went up to $360 for the store. The difference for this campaign versus the Walmart program when it comes to those dollars is, one, there's not the refund of part of that cost based on your deportment in the stores, but the material that you see there, the kiosk, the pull-up banner, and those sorts of things, that's what you're purchasing with those dollars. So those are yours to use throughout the year thereafter if you've entered into this initiative based on that financial outlay. That gives you the opportunity to use that material year-round throughout the community for your different local marketing efforts as well. It also is important to note that Aetna is investing in additional media support, not only through the store management and local area management support, but many times through market media to help announce your presence and market the opportunity. This, once again, is an indication of how important it is to have a relationship with local management to make certain that you know of the opportunities, locations, obviously, and that's something we help with. But it also gives you the opportunity to see if local budgeting is available for marketing support as well. In many markets, it is. When we look at some of the additional campaigns, there is opportunities in Texas. Since I'm in Texas, I'll speak to some of those with Blue Cross Blue Shield through the HCSC contract, and it requires portfolio certification of the Medicare products that they offer. Last year, they offered them through Tuesdays and Thursday locations at 10 to 2 shifts in some limited Walgreens locations. That's anticipated for this year as well. So if you are contracted with that carrier in the state of Texas, we need to chat as to the availability of stores in your particular area. The same sort of situation exists to a degree with Baylor Scott and White in Central Texas, where they ask also for a Medicare product portfolio. The days and times are very flexible, where they'll ask for a minimum of participation, but ask also that the agent establish those days and times according to the most opportune foot traffic in a particular location. This is limited to certain CVS locations in Central Texas, and it is a program that gets underway a little later than some of the others, and you might guess why. Well, CVS, Aetna, they want to maximize the store location and the work that's involved with it, but they also want to make certain that they work with their preferred carrier as well. I mentioned earlier that UnitedHealthcare has offered retail programs for a long time, and they continue to do so through multiple organizations. They are part of the Walmart campaign. They have offered opportunities in CVS in the past. They are closely aligned with Walmart in certain areas, but they also offer opportunities through other organizations that offer pharmacy services, including a number of national grocers across the country. This is a program that is dictated by local management. There is not a total overall national oversight on the program where we can reach into a central database and say, well, these are the stores that are available in Houston, Texas. These are the stores that are available in Boston, Massachusetts. It's an opportunity that is there, but you deal with the local market management in order to determine the availability of stores and the number of organizations that have opportunity to work those stores. What do I mean by that? Well, sometimes they'll work multiple agents in a singular location. They'll also look at a broader range of retailers to use as well. It requires portfolio certification of the Medicare product. And in the eyes of UnitedHealthcare, that means not just the regular MA programs, but they want you also to be currently certified for the entire portfolio of product. So even if you didn't offer D-SNPs as part of your regular marketing program, you'd be certified with D-SNPs for this opportunity. They also, in addition to making certain that you have the MA and PDP certifications, that you are also certified for the AERP Medicare Supplement. Certified for a Medicare Supplement, it's the only one in the industry that I'm aware of that you have to be certified for, and to participate in these stores, you have to be certified for their MedSup as well. They also ask that you complete additional certification in market-specific retail or market venue modules that you need to complete as part of your overall certification. All of the filing of activities goes through UHC's Be Connected system, as are the daily reports of the activity from those dates that you have scheduled. They ask that you complete that activity report the same day that you have completed that activity. They ask also for 3 weeks in advance of an event, and to become part of an overall marketing campaign, they're going to ask you to map it out for the entire time period. And in all honesty, the only times that you'd want to vary that is if you got into a location and once you're in there with filed hours, you discover that there's a living facility in the area that brings in a bus early morning outside of your marketing scheduling that you would want to add to your time in that store. You do choose the days and hours generally that you wish to work. However, like the other marketing initiatives with other carriers and programs, if there's a standardized marketing effort for your market, they're going to want you to work those hours specifically as well. And generally, it's at least 15 hours per week. As I mentioned, it's multiple stores that may be available. They are directed by the territory market managers, which means you may have varying degrees of enthusiasm for the program as well. Many of the agent managers are aware of the benefits of working retail as part of an overall marketing program. So having that plan in place is very, very helpful for you. When we speak to some of the updates for Walmart program itself, this is a program that is available across the country. They ask that you market products through your sponsor or sponsoring organization, and that you work through a choice model. Obviously, if you're going to work with a carrier, they want you offering their carrier their products. There's a logic to that. Obviously, a Walmart, however, wants you to be contracted and certified and licensed to sell with multiple carriers, with a minimum of 2 carriers in a market. If it's a more urban area, they're looking for 3. Obviously, the big 3 in the market normally come into play with UnitedHealthcare, Aetna, and Humana. Those are some of the ones that we see most often. Well, they're the ones with probably the largest product footprint as well. These are some of the participating carriers that we've seen in the past. They were available in 2018. They were available for this past year's campaign, and we'll see them moving forward into the 2020 effectives as well. We are seeing additional programs being added to these possibilities as we go forward, and as we see different carriers start to announce their 2020 benefits and the expansion that they have filed for at this particular point in time, you're going to see greater opportunity in different areas. One of the things that the folks that are tasked with the administration of this program mentioned is, of course, the expansion gives an opportunity to work stores that weren't accessed in the past. So even though we are 2 rounds deep in the store selection, we still speak to the availability of stores in this program because folks may not have picked all the stores that are available in particular new markets particularly, or they may have held off on stores they've worked in the past because they are looking for the opportunity with newly announced expansion areas as well. The program itself does operate from October 7th through December 13th. They are blacked out during the holiday week of Thanksgiving, and they do schedule regular calls for the agents that participate in the program. They ask that all staffing be completed by August and that the agents be certified pretty darn quick, that you have all the certifications in play and in their systems by the 10th of September. What does that mean? Well, sometimes it takes up to 2 weeks for their systems to access the different carrier certifications. So if you're looking to be involved in Walmart, you need to have your certifications done at the very latest by the end of August. The filing of the opportunities goes through, the filing of the marketing opportunities go through the software available through the system, through directhealth.com. And these stores are projected well ahead of time, not less than 8 calendar days ahead. They ask for a regular schedule throughout the time period as well. That helps not only with marketing dollars spent to publicize the location, but it also helps you with the relationship that you establish within that store and the regularity as to when you're there, so the store personnel knows that you're there as well. They ask that you obviously adhere to and comply with all of the CMS rules and regulations, but also the rules of the carriers that you represent. It's important to note that much as national rights versus state rights that we have with the government, you'll see a little bit of difference between the CMS rules and certain carrier rules as well when it comes to filing periods and things of that nature, and we must adhere to the strictest of the rules that are set out there for us. If we fail to comply with the scheduling and any type of schedule change procedures, it's a violation of the code of conduct, and that pretty much cooks your goose as to getting some of your money back that you've invested into the program in order to participate. All of the reporting of your results, much like a number of the other programs, go through the proprietary software that is made available to you. And with Walmart, it does require those sales activities and production numbers be updated the day of your activity. If you're late, it's one of the hickeys against you on the requirements to receive your a portion of your fees back as well. That cost and those fees, it's $500 per store with a possible refund of half that money, $250, if you meet certain qualifications. Those qualifications are the minimum of 2 ready-to-sell carriers reflecting in the portal by the 10th of September. Once again, remember, it takes up to 2 weeks for the carrier feeds to update that portal. So take it back a couple of weeks. If you're pushing it toward the end of August, you may already have kind of given yourself, stubbed the toe. It's not going to make it there. You got to make certain that you attend all your scheduled events, and even a late arrival is counted as a no-show, because one of the things you'll find in retail programs, generally the audit, the secret shops by CMS, usually occur in that first 15 minutes of the scheduled time. So, a good thing to know. Be there like some people attend church. A half an hour early is a half an hour late. You don't have to go an hour ahead of time, but make certain that you're there well in advance to make certain that your marketing area is in the shape that you want it to be and that you're prepared for your shift in that location. You got to follow all the rules. And with Walmart, they ask that you have 3 days of activity and a minimum of 20 hours per week for the entirety of the program, and that includes the last week of AEP as well. Then they also require a minimum of 90% reporting mark, which means you got to report on the day of your scheduled event in order for that to count. Even if you do it past midnight, sorry, you're not reporting the same day. They ask that you comport yourself in a certain fashion and that you dress appropriately. No jeans, no cutoffs, no tank tops, whatever it happens to be. They ask that you wear the acceptable attire and have your required approved name badge and marketing button in play. They ask that no unapproved marketing material, including other marketing buttons, be allowed, and the attire that you don, well, you can't have any other logos, including carrier or agency logos, in place either. In most of the super centers, the larger stores, the kiosk will most likely remain out. The only time you'll see that vary perhaps is during that Thanksgiving week. Some of the neighborhood markets, it may come in and out of play. So if you have selected a neighborhood market, that's one of the reasons why you want to make certain that you're there early in order to make certain your kiosk is in place for you to utilize. The timeline, well, the first round started in May and it closed mid-May. That was the right of first refusal stores. That was locations for agents who had participated in the past and chose to move forward again. They had first shot at the store if they met all of the requirements the previous year and agreed to move forward with the stores, including paying for them in a timely fashion. Round two, well, that closed yesterday at noon. That doesn't mean that no stores are available. Think of it, how many Walmart stores there are in the wide open country that we inhabit. The third round of stores will be released. That list of remaining stores will be available for us to access on the 24th. So next week, we'll have an opportunity to look at those stores. It's a short window for choices where they ask that those selections be submitted along with payment by the 28th of June. They're looking for a finalization of all the stores with all the agents in place by the 22nd of July. But basically, you've got almost till the end of June to make up your mind as to whether or not stores available fit your marketing criteria and your willingness to participate in the program with the guidelines that they present. Remember, it's a first come, first served when that list is available on the 24th. So it's important that we remain in constant communication for those of you who haven't selected a store already. For those of you who have, I'd start marketing to that store now, creating a list of centers of influence and propinquity to that store, the area around the store, so you can add to the marketing efforts of this campaign by accessing those centers of influence, churches, providers, different people that can make a difference as to your success in that store, even though they're not in that store. Might be 2, 3, 4 miles away. They can make a difference to you. Once again, that request deadline is the 28th. Payment is due when the store request goes in as well. So here at Premier, we will ask for a credit card number to make certain that it's on file, and that charge is generally put in place as the store is selected to make certain that we can secure that store for you through this initiative. some of the things that are available to you when it comes to store choice, because many folks will say, well, gee, they've been through 2 rounds already. The stores are probably picked over. Well, even though some of the the carriers have leaked a little bit of information about area expansion, that doesn't mean that you know everything about the stores in those areas of expansion. And that might be an area you choose to market. The list of these stores include Medicare eligibles by the county, by the city that they're in with A and B eligibility, the percentage of the city that's on original Medicare, so giving you an inverse of the penetration of Medicare Advantage plans into the area, and it gives you an idea as to how many people eligible for Medicare are in that store zip code as well. It's also nice to know that it will include new manager identification for you in those stores, and as I mentioned, a greater listing of stores that are perhaps in more rural areas, which is some of the areas that are most commonly accessible through expansion. And it also gives us an idea of how many folks are low-income subsidy eligible by the county as well, because that gives us an opportunity to not only pinpoint our focus of activity during the open enrollment period, but it also gives us that opportunity to continue that relationship throughout the year, because those folks, remember, they had that quarterly special election period that give us an opportunity to help them throughout the year. Some of the things that we're going to ask is that we will place the store request for you if we have your credit card information on file and we're able to access it. You are asked to pay for the store up front when the store is awarded. You need to be committed when you pick the store. You can't back out once the store request is made, because we can't back out of the store either. And we're asking that the carrier contracts be in place in order to request that store as well. Things that are important to make this a success. It is not a hammock that you go in, you sit down, you take a little nap. It's important to build relationships with folks in the store manager and the pharmacist, create within that relationship the information that's necessary so they view you as an asset and their home away from home. It's important as well that you communicate with the staff and the champion that is in that store as well, that you check in before and after each shift, speak to the time that you spent there and how it worked out for you in that particular location, and your plans on how you intend to make it more successful for all involved as well. They also ask that as you're awarded the store, that you meet with these key players before the initiative begins. Obviously, you'll want to do that, and that's where it's very valuable for you to have mapped out those centers of influence in and around the area where that store is located, that you're going to help publicize that campaign through your own efforts as well. We have a ton of really cool material that can help you do that, and a way for you to plan efficiently in order to do so as well. Very important. You build that relationship. You don't wait. You don't call. You go in and visit them face to face. You're persistent but professional, and you look to make certain they know you're adding value because of your presence in the store. There is not necessarily a letter of authorization as there has been in the past. The program does have solid support for you. So if you hit challenges in the store, wow, what happened to my booth? Oh, somebody threw it out. Shoot, what do I do now? Well, in addition to your support that you have through Premier, you have the folks that are running the campaign specifically to deliver the assistance when you need it. You're going to go into their agent training program and complete all of the requirements they have in play for you in order to access the store, and they're going to ask you to do it ahead of time as well. They're going to do multiple components. They'll do the preliminary pieces that you have to have in play with the carriers, but also the material that they're asking you to train on in order to make this an effective venture for you. They ask that you do certain things and that you don't do certain things as well. The joy of a smartphone or a laptop or whatever else of an electronic device that you use in conducting your business is also, in many cases, a diversion, shall we put it that way? And they ask that you limit the use of technology for business purposes during the course of your shift, and that you don't use some of the traditional media where you're sitting there reading a newspaper, a book, or a magazine while you're on staff. They want you to be professionally attired and, once again, not be branded by any carrier or agency. So some of the lovely material these different insurance companies have for us, might be nice to use throughout the rest of our selling days and hours, not while we're in Walmart. They're going to ask that you also post your hours and file your hours and adhere to those hours, but they'll make the marketing material available to you to do so. In many circumstances, you will see that, perhaps the store you were interested in is gone, or they didn't offer it with a particular location in mind that you had with a particular carrier. As you create marketing programs on a DIY program, identifying a center of influence for your base of operations, you can do this basically on your own as well. If you place a operation in play where there's common foot traffic with our demographic, our target demographic, many carriers will support you very strongly in your efforts. Your upline generally does as well. So you have an opportunity to create your own type of campaign, utilizing some of the lessons we've learned from Walmart and the carriers, and making certain that we remain compliant and market accordingly. So it gives you the opportunity to access those who need help. So if you're in a retail situation of a pharmacy, these pharmacists need your help. In many circumstances, they are provided, if they're in a corporate environment, with certain tools to help the individual that is looking for a plan. However, they don't always have the time to do that, or perhaps the wherewithal within their own training to do so. And keep in mind, the vast majority of them certainly aren't licensed insurance agents. So demonstrating your value and your proficiency with Medicare.gov or Medicare Center or a number of the other programs that are out there to help make choices, this gives you the opportunity to be an asset for that campaign, be it carrier specific, Walmart, or one you build on your own. Knowing and being able to function with the assistance programs, the extra help program, the low income subsidy can really make a difference for you. And this is an in for you right now with many of these locations, since we are mid-year and some of the folks are creeping into that donut hole, the gap that's available to you. If you set up your own campaign, however, be prepared with certain chains to have a need for corporate approval. That's why some of the small independents make a great partner for you. You offer a ton of information, and it frees up the staff within the pharmacy to do their job outside of what you're doing, with making details of the programs available, the different assistance programs, and those special election periods or enrollment periods that enable the individual to make a choice, and your proficiency in tying it to your retail partner through a preferred pharmacy organization. So you have the tools in place to make any of your options available successful. And it depends upon what you're willing to do with that location and organization, and remembering that it is not a situation where you are putting all of your eggs in a singular basket, because you add on different types of marketing components to it, and it's always a larger sum than the different campaigns individually put into play. There may be an opportunity for you in certain areas to receive corporate or upline help when it comes to direct mail to support the campaign as well. Many of the carriers have programs specifically designed for this, where it advertises your time in a particular location, and many of those make those flyers available so you can make that part of your neighborhood marketing campaign and create additional opportunities through your space and time. Remember, Premier has direct mail support based on your production as well. So it's a great way to cut the cost of those mailers on an independent basis through our organization as well, through our preferred lead vendors. We do so because we need to make certain that the information going out is compliant. We want to protect you and us when it comes to that, and then of course protect our carrier partners as well. You've got a number of different pieces of organization or material out there that can help make you more successful. Obviously, the more proficient you are in the intricacies of the programs offered by the carriers with whom you contract, that's very important. Being aware of and utilizing electronic enrollment programs can make a huge difference for you, because once you have settled into those particular programs, it's a great way to really cut time from that enrollment process. You can do so very quickly, compliantly, and in many cases remotely as well, where your follow-up sales visit can be telephonic or electronic through some of the information you send through these approved carriers. So one of the things that we are very adamant that is helpful to you is our Medicare Center trainings. And while many of these carriers will offer different retail training for a CYA basis, it is very helpful for you to take a hint from these organizations, because they've done it a long time as well. They have the experience from different agents across the country, and it's a great way to crack into that knowledge base by going through the programs they have in play. We do have different educational assistances available to you as well through our grassroots marketing programs, working your campaigns throughout the community in an organized fashion. We schedule those on a regular basis, but there are recordings of those from the past, as there are of our LIS and Medicare savings programs, MSP programs, available on YouTube and on our website as well. We do regular quote engine trainings as well, because some of the choices made available to the Medicare beneficiaries in your area, well, that best choice may well be a Medicare supplement and a standalone PDP program. And we have a software that can help you be very proficient in that as well. And it is available without cost to our contracted agents. Being aware of Medicare.gov and the information it lends you is very, very helpful. And that Medicare Center program that I mentioned, well, it's the same company that powers Medicare.gov, so it's important for you to use. Having your basics well in play through knowing the Medicare programs is very important. There are a lot of major college football teams that lose because they forget about the basics of blocking and tackling. This is a similar circumstance for us as agents. Medicare changes. What will be the differences in the base coverages? How are the programs that are offered by the different carriers going to vary from year to year? Having our duckies in a row there can make you much, much more effective. And keep in mind, CMS does also make available different pieces of material that can help us with our reviews as well in multiple languages. So it's there for you to use and available. These are live links, quasi-live, that can really help you standardize your presentation on a multiple carrier basis and look the part that you are. It's also important to remember that we're here to help. It's not our first rodeo either. If you're having some challenges with a carrier or through the marketing campaign itself, we want to make certain that we do what we can to help make you successful. So as you go and market in the community, track your opportunity, and your activity and communicate that with your base of operations. If you are in a particular CVS store and you're working the senior residences, the providers, the faith-based community in that area, mark and track your efforts and speak to the management in that store so they know that you're there symbiotically and not parasitically. Yeah, you're there to work with them and not just suck the lifeblood out of that location. So keep in mind, there are things that we do to help. We want to make certain that as you get into a situation and you realize there are additional carriers that you need to be effective, not only in the Medicare space with some of the ancillary programs as well to fill out and address the needs of your prospects and clients and create an additional revenue stream for you as well. We have electronic contracting means available to you. Create an agent profile and pick carriers electronically for contracting. We also offer discounted E&O for our agents, so you act as a true independent agent. We realize that most agents have contracts with multiple organizations, and this makes certain that you are covered wherever that contract originates. We help make certain that your license remains in place through bundled continuing education programs through our affiliation with WebCE. We also give you an opportunity to add to your own personal benefit package through a non-cancelable DI program on a modified guarantee issue basis with discounted rates where you share in those commissions for those programs as well. We do, as I mentioned before, have many of these marketing scenarios covered through different recordings available on our website and on YouTube as well. A great way to go in and do some reviews periodically. You never know. Boy, I picked up something different on that. I didn't catch that before. And you have an opportunity to quote electronically, as I mentioned, through the quote tool that we make available through the contract we have with CSG that gives you multiple carriers and multiple categories of insurance with an opportunity to start doing a cross-selling function and an e-app function through one tool. We also make available to you the MA programs on an electronic basis through our Medicare Center program, a great way for you to not only collect the scope of appointment electronically and have it filed for that time period that you need to hold on to it, that 10-year program, but it also gives you a way to enroll electronically remotely as well. We have a way for you to put your social media marketing efforts on autopilot as well. If you participate in retail programs, we've seen a number of agents that use Facebook and a number of the other social media programs to really help publicize compliantly their marketing efforts in these campaigns. We also want to make certain that you are able to access all of the reimbursement you have coming to you as a marketer for the different carriers, where you are accessing the carrier trips and incentives when appropriate and being able to take advantage of the trip that we make available through Premier as well. Next year, it's a cruise from Miami to the Bahamas. If you're one of the sun worshipers, this is something you really need to shoot for. We do make a different number of lead programs available to you too. There are certain programs where you can still cold call. We'll help you with a contact list. We'll help you with standardized marketing campaigns for those centers of influence, including an emphasis on retail marketing efforts and accessing faith-based opportunities and provider marketing opportunities as well. Many of the carriers that you work with will help generate opportunities for you with prospects depending upon your contracting situation. We have a number of internet lead programs on a pilot basis going now, including one that's being really pioneered and showing its effectiveness in our final expense area. And we do offer that direct mail assistance as well based on production. All said and done, we want to work with you. We want to make certain that we market together effectively and do so where it's a win-win for all of us. I hate that analogy sometimes, but hey, it's a win-win if we're able to work together and grow together and effectively market. It's a question of, is this a valuable part of your personal marketing program? Remember, retail's a part of a personal marketing program. It's not your entire marketing program. If this is something you want to move forward with, if you've already got a store selected, work with us to make certain that we put ancillary marketing campaigns so you can access those centers of influence in the area around your store. If it's not something that you've already agreed to do, we need to chat as to what would be a good location for you in your markets. And once we make that decision, we move forward and we're working together to make certain that it's a success for all involved. That said, you can reach any of us at 1-800-365-8208. We also have the opportunity to visit with you through our website at premiersmi.com. We realize that your time is your most valuable asset, and that's one of the reasons why we feel that retail campaigns can be a great value to you should you work them appropriately. We can help you do that. We can help you maximize the return on your investment, because remember, it's not just the dollars that go into it. The cost of this for an entire campaign is about the cost of a single 1,000-piece mailer. Utilizing different programs in conjunction helps you get the most out of that dollar investment, but also the time that you put into these programs. That said, we look forward to discussing the possibilities with you in the very near future. Give us a call, and in the meantime, we wish you good selling. Thanks so much. We'll talk with you soon.